Well, hello, my friends. Hello. Welcome to day 3 of Abundance Challenge. I am so happy to see that you're still going strong. And like I said on the previous 2 days, if you want the results, you must have the discipline. So showing up and doing these practices for 5 days, it's not such a long time. It's discipline. It's committing to something, and when you commit and you commit to the discipline, you get to experience the result. So as a quick recap of what we covered in the last 2 days, is the first one is I'm going to use a quote from Albert Einstein to to picture what we talked about for the last 2 days. And his quote goes like this: everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Albert Einstein: everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. So this is the greatest scientist, physicist of all time said that. So everything is energy. And in order for us to experience abundance, prosperity in all the multifaceted, multidimensional meaning of that word, the abundance of love, health, joy, money, whatever it is that your creativity, resilience, all of that, faith, all you need to do is just match your own your energetic vibration to the frequency of that abundance, and that's how it shows up in your life. Yesterday we talked about some of the universal laws through which abundance, anything, actually everything in this universe, in this world, works. We talked about the vacuum law of prosperity, meaning that if you want to create whatever it is that you desire in your life, you first need to create space for it. Make space, anything from clearing your closet, organizing your wallet, cleaning out your pantry, to ripping out any sort of limiting beliefs that are simply not true, that prevent you, that block you from that chosen future that you desire for yourself. We talked about the law of circulation, meaning the moment you give, you automatically turn on the giant wheel of receiving. So give wholeheartedly, give from your soul with joy, give joyfully into the field, right? You don't give to people, you give into the field, or you can say you give to the universe, into the universe. And we also talked about forgiveness, meaning that resentment, grudge, unforgiveness take up a lot of space. They take a lot of energy and bandwidth that could be filled up with something else, something that you actually yearn for: love, creativity, health, joy, money, new career, new business, success, thriving, etc., etc. So all of these things, we talk about these things because these universal laws, these practices, they help us step into the flow. And I call it the divine flow of life. And when you are in that flow, then you get to experience effortless ease. You get to experience moments of synchronicity, divine guidance. It's when you're in the flow, you do less and you receive more. And at various points in our lives, we all have experienced the flow. We've all experienced that amazing feeling when everything happens in a perfect way and in a perfect time. Yes? So if you're with me, give me some hands up, just fingers, like, yes, I'm with you. Yes, yes. And hi, Janine. Hi. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about today we're going to talk about mainly money, like financial abundance, financial wealth, and prosperity. And just like any sort of prosperity, abundance, and wealth, it can be multifaceted, right? It can be applied to health, it can be applied to relationships, it can be applied to feeling happy and joyful and light and creativity and all these things. And particularly, I wanted to talk about the in the context of financial abundance. And what we'll talk about today is clearing abundance blocks. So those blocks that prevent you from where you are now to where you want to be as far as financial and material wealth goes. Because look, we all have these blocks. If you didn't have these blocks, you would already experience that material and financial abundance that you yearn for. The fact that you're not there yet goes to show that you have some blocks, right? So let's just get it out of the way. So if you're, I don't know, if you're yearning for $1 million, right? And if you don't have $1 million right now, it's because you have some sort of abundance blocks within you, in your inner state, in your mentality, in the way you view your world. So as we go through these abundance blocks, if you're like, oh, it's not me, I invite you to pause and look at it again. Because again, because of these blocks, you are not currently experiencing the abundance that you yearn for. And once you clear these blocks, once you become aware, like A Course in Miracles says, once you become aware, once you bring whatever that issue is into the light, trust that you will be given everything you need to clear it. So the moment you bring whatever it is into the light, you'll be given whatever it is that you need to clear it. So naming and becoming aware of your own abundance blocks, in a way, once you look at it, so once you're like, oh yeah, I do have that, then trust that A Course in Miracles says you will be given everything you need to clear it. Okay. So and you'll, interestingly enough, you'll see how these abundance blocks relate to the universal laws that we talked about yesterday. So let's talk about the first one, is the lack of deserving. Because I think it's the biggest block, abundance block, the lack of deserving. This is where all of our limiting beliefs come into play. Oh, but I'm not smart enough. Oh, but I'm not business savvy enough. Oh, I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not whatever. I'm not successful enough. I don't have the background. I don't have the enough connections. I'm just not good enough. Anybody can relate? Believe it or not, I mean, we all have some sort of I'm not enough, I'm not deserving type of mentality. And let me tell you, this is the number one abundance blocks in all of our lives. So as part of your homework, I'm going to send you an email. It will be the journaling exercise is like bringing these abundance blocks that you experience into the light. So as you think about your chosen future, all that you desire to experience in your life, love, health, abundance, creativity, good breaks, effortless ease, and whatever that thing that pops up, right? It's your ego talking. That's the lack of, like, name it. What is your flavor of the lack of deserving? Um, Yeah, so like, I mean, I'll give you some examples from my own life. You know, many of you all know already that 2 years ago I sold my yoga business, and now I'm in the process of starting new stuff, right? My success coaching, my business coaching, my retreat center that I've had for 5 years. So because it's new, it's something that, like if at Yoga One I've experienced a lot of success, so this is something new. So I often catch myself to saying all sorts of stories. Oh, I'm not charismatic enough. I don't know enough. People don't want to hear what I have to say. People are not interested in what I have to offer. So, I mean, all sorts of stuff. I don't know anything about the hotel business. I don't know anything about retreat business. I mean, you name it. I can go down that road. So all of those are the lack of deserving, and it's the number one abundance block. So explore your own lack of deserving blocks, name them, bring them into the light, and trust and have faith that the moment you put a name to it, the moment you look at it, the moment you bring it into the light, you are given everything you need to clear it. I didn't come up with that. It's from A Course in Miracle. So the second abundance blocks that we'll talk about is the fear of loss. And it's a tricky one, the fear of loss. So it can be anything from, since we're talking about abundance in the context of money, like financial abundance, material abundance, it can be silly things like, oh, if I'm really wealthy, then I'll lose my friends. My friends will not want to hang out with me. Or if I'm really wealthy, then my family will think that I'm a stuck up and they won't want to be with me. It can be silly things like that. It can be, crazy things. People just come up with all sorts of crazy stuff. It can be like, oh, but if I'm really wealthy, I'm gonna lose the simplicity of my tax return. Absurd, right? Like my tax return is gonna be so much more complicated. Or like I caught myself the other day. Here's another one. So I was thinking about Jeff Bezos, right? Officially the richest man in the world, the owner of Amazon. And I was like, dang, he's like so wealthy. And then I thought about his company, Amazon, and it actually started with like, how in the world, like I order something really, a pen, and then tomorrow it comes into my door, and I'm in Taos, New Mexico. It's not like I'm in a big city. How in the world do they do it? And then I went down the road. I was like, oh, but it must be like so complicated, the logistics. How do you even connect the seller and the buyer, and like the shipping and all of that? And I just went down that pathway, and I was like, dang, imagine like managing a company, multi-billion-dollar company, all the employees. And then I was like, nah, I don't want that. It's so complicated. Sounds like so difficult and so complicated, just dealing with all those people and all those problems. So in a way, it's like a fear of loss, right? You're not experiencing the success that you yearn for, because on some subconscious level, you don't want to give up your comfort zone, right? Like you're content. You are content where you are right now. Like if you wanted to be like Jeff Bezos, or like, let's say, Elon Musk, right? They run huge companies. Do you know the multitude of the problems, the depth of the problems those people have to resolve each day? Like Elon Musk says, the amount of money you get paid is directly proportionate to the like the depth of the problems you have to resolve. It's kind of like that. So I caught myself on that one just the other day. So what is your fear of loss as in a block to your financial abundance? And that's an interesting one to journal on. And remember, when you ask a correct question, your mind will always give you an answer. So if you frame it as like, what is my fear of loss abundance block, and just sit and listen for whatever comes up. And if it pops up in your head, that means your subconscious mind brought it up to your attention. It's coming up for a reason. Are you with me? Give me some jazz fingers so I know that you're with me on the same page. Okay, good job, you guys. Oh, let's go to the next one. This is one that also is interesting. There is not enough abundance block. There is not enough. Oh my gosh, if you were to like talk about it, I have some single girlfriends, and they would often say things like, oh, but all the good ones already married. Like there is like a finite amount of men, and all of them are already married, so there aren't eligible bachelors out there. So stuff like that. It comes up in silly things like that. Or like, I told you already, I used to have 7 yoga studios, and there, in the yoga world, there would be like this belief or this energy that there are not enough yoga students out there, and the studios would compete with each other for an audience, so there is not enough to go around. Are you with me? Or like, let's say I want to be in the, I'm a success coach. So I really want to thrive and make a massive contribution and help people in the area of personal growth and development. Things like this, abundance, helping people shape their destiny to manifest their chosen future into their reality. And sometimes I'd be like, oh, but there are some other people who are doing it so much better than me. There, I mean, why would I even go there when there is Tony Robbins out there? Like I would go into like things like that, right? There is not enough, as though there is like a finite number of people interested in personal growth work. And like Tony Robbins already got them all. Like sometimes I'd catch it to something like that. I mean, if you can think of something like, if I'm talking about certain things and you're like, oh yeah, like that's, I can relate to that, type it up into a chat window. I'd love to. I'd love to hear what's bubbling up for you as I'm naming these abundance blocks. So, like you can experience that at work. Like, for example, your career growth, right? We would go into a mindset like, oh, but there is only this opportunity and there is no other way for my growth here within this company. Who says that? You don't know that. Like, but as long as you believe in that, like there is not enough, I don't know, if you want to be a partner in an accounting firm, there is not enough opportunities there or enough spots for that, you'll never experience that growth. Okay. Ooh, I have some comments here. I have experienced a fear of loss in terms of relationship I was in and had to let go. Yeah. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you for sharing. Okay, are we ready for the next one? Well, Elaine, we can talk about it in a little bit. I'm going to get back to that one. Let me just go through all these abundance blocks. The next abundance block is harboring resentment. And we kind of talked about it yesterday. So if you're holding on to resentment, unforgiveness, grudge, anger, it's a huge abundance block, guys. I mean, I talked about it yesterday already, and I'm just going to remind you in this context of like financial abundance, in terms of, in the language of energy, in the language of spirituality, because these are all spiritual laws for abundance, right? This one is a biggie. Harboring resentment, unforgiveness, grudge, anger is a giant block to your abundance. And we talked about it yesterday, like resentment takes up a lot of energy, a lot of space in your energetic, emotional bandwidth, right? It takes a tremendous amount of energy to carry anger and unforgiveness. So, and it's also prevents money from flowing into your life, right? So, and you forgive and you let go for you, or you forgive and let go because you want to experience abundance, success, love, joy, happiness in your life. Are you with me? With me? Okay, good, good, good. So the next one, abundance block, would be negative money mindset. Negative money mindset. And let me tell you my favorite ones. And you know what? I'm going to name it. And if something is bubbling up for you, get really curious about this one, because I may hit, how do you say it in English? Hit the nail right on the head, right? So I love Joel Osteen. I do. When I lived in Houston, I go to his church every Sunday and Wednesday. Sometimes even on Friday, I'd go to her church and I'd listen to his messages in the car all the time. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who have a problem with a rich pastor. They say that, I don't know, I don't even know what they say because I don't listen, but somehow somehow he's a bad person because he's wealthy and because he's a pastor. Now, if that thought crossed your mind, consider that that is your abundance block. So anytime you say or think negative, think about wealthy people, consider that you have a negative money mindset. I'm not going to go into the point like I'll just go ahead and say it. I mean, you are here, you already know that I'm cookie. I believe when I look at his church, at Lakewood Church, I go inside and I'm like, dang, this man has created this incredible community. 50,000 people go to his church over the weekend. 50,000 people leave feeling uplifted, inspired, connected to God. Like, I know that church didn't just fall in his lap. It took a tremendous amount of work to create that. And yes, it is a business. Anytime money is involved, if you're collecting money from anybody, guess what? On some level, it is a business, and you have to run that organization as a business. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but like if you have something like, oh, that person is evil because they have a lot of money, you absolutely hands down have a negative mindset, and it's a big block in your abundance, material abundance, and other abundance too. Or sometimes people would say like, oh, rich people are so stuck up, or like, look at that rich person, like a lot of times you'd hear things like that all the time. That's a negative money mindset. Or it can be I mean, that whole passage from the Bible. I mean, I come from the, Soviet Union, so it's not like I grew up with it, but it goes something like, it's easier for a camel to go how does it go through a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven? Type it up into the window. But you know what I'm talking about. So even that belief, in a way, is a negative money mindset. I believe that you can be both spiritual, you can be and wealthy at the same time. I believe that you can be an incredibly successful entrepreneur and spiritual and kind and generous and compassionate and really a good person at the same time. I truly believe so. But if you somehow glitch around that area, I invite you to explore those unexamined beliefs. And again, bring it into the light. You'll be given everything you need to clear that. The next one is focusing on what's missing. That one is so easy for us to do, you guys. I'm gonna have a sip of water. Have some water if you have water nearby. Focusing on what's missing. So we can be focused on a husband that is missing. We can be focused on the children that we don't yet have. We can be focused on, like right now, we're in the time of pandemic. A global pandemic, it's a big deal. And a lot of us are focusing on what we can no longer do. And that's a block to our abundance. Focus on what you already have and what you can do. So one of my teachers, her name is Suzanne Conrad, from Light Year Leadership. I'm a certified coach in that as well. The way she talks about it is love the one that you're with. And I might have already talked about this one in this circle, but love the one that you're with instead of focusing on what's not there or what's missing. So until you learn to love the one that you're with, the universe is not going to get you anything else. So let's say since we're talking about, I'm not going to go into the relationships. Let me stay focused on money. So right now, my business has been closed for 2 months because of the global pandemic. And I can focus on all the, this year I said, this is a year I'm turning around my retreat center. And I worked my butt off to schedule a retreat every single weekend of 2020. And I was so happy about that. Every single weekend was booked, and I was like making the projections. It was gonna be the most successful, financially successful year in our retreat center. And right now I can focus like, all these cancellations, people are not going to have retreats this year. I'm going to have to give them refunds. I'm literally generating zero revenues right now. So I can focus on what's missing, the retreats that are canceling, the money that is not there. And as long as I focus on what I don't have or what I can't do, I know that it's my abundance block. So instead, I celebrate what I can do. And every day, as soon as I open my eyes, I'm like, thank you. Thank you that my whole family is right here with me. We're all so healthy. We have a roof over our head. Moreover, we have this beautiful 18-bedroom place. all this space in one of the world's most beautiful places, Taos, New Mexico. I truly believe God lives here. So I go down that list and I celebrate what I can do. Like I got that PPP money from the government. How incredible that is. I have the employees. I can go into the stress out, like how in the world I'm going to pay them. Or I can focus on like what a privilege it is to be able to support my employees and their families. It's how you look at things is everything. So instead of focusing on what's missing, which is a huge abundance block, focus on what you already have. Love the one that you're with. So if you're single, many ladies in our abundance challenge are single and they're searching for love, right? For that partner, for a soulmate, for a best friend, for a lover. So you need to learn to really celebrate, love the one that you're with. Just think about the freedom that you have right now. You're your own boss. You don't have to like, you know dance with another person's needs and their schedule and their moods. You can spend all this time on like just laying in a couch and reading a book. Or if you want to veg out and watch a movie, you can. Nobody's going to tell you anything. Sometimes I lay on my butt yesterday, like I was watching Ray Donovan on whatever Amazon, and my husband came from Austin and he was like, oh, come on a walk with me. And people, I really didn't want to go for a walk. I just wanted to lay in bed and watch my show. But guess what? I got my ass up out of bed and I went for a walk with him. It's like that. I mean, I know it's kind of a silly example, but love the one, love your freedom, love being your own boss, love the fact that you can do whatever you want. Appreciate it, celebrate it, because I'm going to talk a little bit about seasons. There is a season for everything in your life, and knowing what season you're in and loving the season that you're in is a big deal, because that season will change. Everything, the only constant in life is change, right? There is always going to be spring after winter. So right now, all of us are in a winter. We are all in an economic winter, global pandemic winter. It's dead out there, people. Like there's barely any pulse on the economy. Our health is suffering. Like winter is cold and it's harsh and nothing is growing. We are in the winter right now, but spring is coming. Spring is coming. And love the winter. Celebrate that you can cozy up by the fire with your comfy blanket and reading a book and sipping on a hot cup of tea. I'm speaking metaphorically right now, because know that the spring is coming. Anticipate the spring. Look forward for the spring. Plan for the spring, because it is coming. And after spring there'll be summer, and after summer there'll be fall. So there's seasons in your life. With my children, a lot of times people complain about their crazy children, terrible twos. You blink and that time is gone. You blink. I look at my children 10 and 12 and I'm like, oh, what happened to my babies? They don't even want to I'm not even talking about snuggling. They don't even want to be with me. They don't even want to look at me. My oldest. My little one still wants to snuggle. So there is a season for your life. I don't know why I got into seasons. Anyway, focus on what's missing is a big abundance block. So the next one, we talked about it yesterday too. Clutter, chaos, and drama. Clutter, chaos, and drama. We talked about it yesterday as in the context of vacuum law of prosperity. So the clutter that you have in your pantry, believe it or not, is preventing that money coming into your life. Drama is another one. I mean, clutter, chaos is kind of self-explanatory, right? Like if your house is messy. I had a friend who lived in the house next door, and she was a single mom. And one time I came into her house for some reason. Her house was like such a huge mess. I mean, I don't care. I usually don't care. My house is not clean, but like I have never seen a mess like that. There was like clothes on the floor. It was just like super messy. And she was single, and I was like, dude, clean up your dang house. And like, I mean, it can be simple as like, what if you bring a man into your house? Like, nobody wants to come in into this mess. I mean, it can be simple like that, but on the energetic level, it's also, that clutter, that mess is preventing abundance from coming into your life. So organize your closet, organize your pantry, organize your iPhone, clean up. And then drama is another one of those chaos and clutter. If you love sitting there and gossiping, if you spend hours on the phone talking smack about other people, how terrible your boss is, and blah, 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 and talking crap on your relatives and the friend, blah, blah, that gossip is drama, and it's preventing abundance from coming into your life. Quit that. Quit that. Don't talk crap about people. Don't create any drama. Does that make sense? I don't even know. Like there isn't much drama in my life, so I don't know unless you consider my girls drama. I don't know. I can't even think of examples of drama. Type some on the chat window of some drama examples. I think gossip is a big one. I have another one. Should tell you a story?
Sure,
Should I?
and talk a little bit about the chaos a little bit more. I'll be
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah. Chaos. Some people that just look for drama. Like some people just want to pick a fight. Have you ever? I mean, I've been crazy like that too. I would just like want to pick a fight with my husband. That's drama. That's chaos. And I realize in my head that I'm totally being unreal, what's the word? Unreasonable. Yet like there is something within me. I just want the drama. I don't know why. Like sometimes we ladies get into things like that. Some people search for drama. Some people just like thrive on that. Some people just say lies. I don't know, like weird people do weird stuff. I mean, like it's been a long time since anything like I experienced anything like this in my life. But type up something on the chat window. Let's help each other out. Give me some examples of chaos, drama, because clutter is pretty self-explanatory. I'll give you an example. So this is also chaos and drama. I feel like I have a friend, and she was like, she was like, oh, such and such person, and I know they're close friends, so they hang out together all the time. They're like all mom in the mom group. So like, can you believe that biatch? Like last New Year's, I went to upstairs to put my kids to bed, and she put her hand on my husband's hand. And I'm like, when was that? She's like, New Year's. And I'm like, I just saw her at your house last weekend. What the heck are you talking about? She's like, yeah, I know. She doesn't know that I know. But my husband told me that she put her hand on his hand. And I'm like, what? Why is she still in her house? She's like, I have an upper hand over her because she doesn't know that that I know that she put her hand on my. Does it make sense? Like to me, it's I'm like, what in the world is wrong with you? But that to me is an example of chaos and drama. Why would you even do that? And what in the world does it mean to have an upper hand? Trust me, if somebody put their hand on my husband's hand, that chick is not going to be anywhere near me. No, it's just like too weird. Yeah, unnecessary drama. Exactly. Does that even make sense? I don't know. It's been a long day, guys. I led all day of teacher training, so I'm a little bit tired. But like, I can't even think of any other drama examples. Talking crap to, things like that. There'd be like, I led a team of 150 people, and sometimes people would talk crap to my employees behind my back. My employees would talk crap on me to other employees, and guess what? It always gets back to the boss lady. So that's just drama. I mean, it prevents you from I mean, quite literally from you getting a raise. Because guess what? If somebody's talking crap about me behind my back, do you think I'm going to give them a raise? The same with your work, it prevents your career growth. I mean, it's just like no brainer. Okay, does that help, Brandy? Okay, we're going to move on to the next one, okay? Let's take a deep breath. The last one is living in a get mindset. Is the last, I mean, these are just some money blocks that there are probably many more, but these are the main ones. Living in a get mindset. And this also relates to the law of circulation that we talked about. So sometimes people would give with a get mindset in mind, like I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back, simply said, right? You'll see that a lot in a business. Like I'll do this, but if you do this for me, it's kind of like an exchange, and that is an abundance block. So remember the law of circulation we talked yesterday, that when you give wholeheartedly from your heart, and you give into the field without an expectation. So a lot of times, here's another example. I mean, sometimes I catch myself do that, I confess. So sometimes we'd give something to our children with an expectation of something in return. I mean, I confess I do that sometimes. So I'd be like, I can give you more time on your device if you go clean your room. Do you know, it can be something simple like that. Or I'll buy you that new iPhone, or I'll buy you those new tennis shoes if you do this, this, and that. And it's kind of subtle, but it's still like, it's in a way, it's teaching my children to do horse trading. It's like it's teaching my children to live in a get mindset. And whenever on a good day I catch myself, I'm like, oh, I need to reframe it, and I need to say it in a different way. Do you know what I mean? Are you with me? Yeah. So the law of circulation say you give from your heart into the field, and you don't expect anything in return from people in a way. Do you know what I mean? But know that the fact that you give already turns on the wheel of receiving. Somehow it's gonna come back to you times a million. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about rituals that I like. And this is something like I like to do both spiritual and kind of like high, like sometimes dense stuff, because these things that we talked about, there can be a little dense, right? They can be subtle and not as obvious. But I also like to share with you some practical things that you can do in your everyday life. So I have a money ritual. I have a money ritual. Anytime, like let's say it's a credit card, right? And I need to sign my name on the credit card receipt, is I always put a smiley face next to the amount, because smiley face, like some of you know, Andrea, Brandy on my teacher training, some of you are my one-on-one clients on this call. So happy face, it's a happy face God. So to me, like a smiley face, it's a divine. So I write a happy face next to the amount of money. And then I say a little prayer. The way I say it is like, thank you, God, so much for all of this abundance that I have in my life. Thank you that I can spend whatever, $100 on a fancy dinner with my husband. Thank you so much. How lucky am I? And then I say, oh, this money, I'm just letting it go. Please come back to me. Come back to me and bring all your friends. And then in my head, I would add zeros. Sometimes I say times 10. Sometimes I say times 1,000, times a million, depending on the amount. And then and I write it down and all this money is coming back to me. And then I sign my name. So I'll tell you where it all started. So back in the Yoga One days, back in the day when I would write checks or like online payments, every 2 weeks I would get in a really crap mood. I'd be in such a crap mood, like I'd be a total bitch to my husband, I'd yell at my kids, I'd just be this horrible person. And then I realized that anytime it's a payday, I'd get in a bad mood. Because all of a sudden, like I have all this money in my bank account, and overnight that money goes down like by a significant amount because I'm a employer, right? And I realized that it would give me so much stress. And ultimately, it was about like me feeling the lack of deserving abundance block. Isn't like, first of all, the lack. What if I don't have enough money to cover my expenses? That's the obvious one. Then if I were to like dig deeper, um, maybe I'm not good enough as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as a business leader. Am I making the right decisions? I mean, we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I realized that about every 2 weeks, whenever it's a payroll, I'd get in a terrible mood. I'm terrible to my family. But ultimately, underneath all of that, it was fear, the lack mentality, and the lack of deserving. I'm not good enough, right? What if I can't make my business succeed? So then I decided to shift my perspective to, instead of like, oh, all this money is like going down, I was like, oh, what a blessing it is to support all of my employees and their families. What a blessing it is to have such an incredible team of people who are aligned with my vision. What a blessing it is that we do this amazing work into the world. So that ritual, I developed it as like, if I click a button like submit paychecks, right? Like online, let's say, I would go say this little prayer. And this was a lot of money. Payroll for 150 people, it's a lot of money. So I would add like zeros. I add 3 zeros. I'm like, oh, this money's coming back to me. I get excited, and I change my internal state, my energy, right? From like, oh, lack, what if I don't have enough, to anticipation. All this money is coming to me. What a blessing, to gratitude. And that is everything. So anytime you swipe your credit card, anytime you write a check, anytime you process an online payment, say a prayer like that. And it can be your own variation of that prayer. Okay? So thank you, God. Thank you for this abundance that I have right now. And also, like, I look forward to this money coming back to me times 10 times 1,000 times 1,000,000. So that's one. Another thing that I need to say is that money doesn't come from people. Money comes through people, from God, through the divine, through the universe, through the quantum field, whatever you want to call it. Money doesn't come from people. It comes through people. Are you with me? So remember that. And lastly, money is neutral. Money is not good, nor is it bad. Money is neutral, right? And it's your job to make a meaning out of money, and that meaning that you attribute to money determines everything. So if you think that money is the root of all evil, that's how it's going to show up in your life. But if you believe that money is ultimately good, as in, look, when I have money, I can be a great philanthropist. I can support orphans in my home country, Kazakhstan. I can support abused women. I can give them shelter. I can train, I can teach them that they too can shape their destiny, that they can leave that abusive relationship. And as a matter of fact, they can do whatever it is that they want to do with their life. Sky is the limit. Possibilities are limitless. I can do it more easily if I have money. I can have a bigger impact if I have money. Are you with me? So whatever meaning you give to money, money in itself is a neutral energy. And just like anything in this world, it is energy. And whatever meaning you attach to money determines your money experience in your life. Give me hands up if you're with me, if you're following, if you're tracking along. Yes, yes, okay. So your homework for tonight will be, I'm gonna type up a certain words, and it'll be your new relationship. You are going to declare your new relationship with money. And it has a little bit to do with your inherited legacy too. So I'm gonna read it out loud. And I'm gonna say my maiden name, which is very long, brace yourselves. I, Albina Orazgalieva Ripi, am starting a new relationship with money today. Money is good, pure, useful, and necessary for my prosperity and growth, for my satisfaction and abundance. Money brings positive things to my life. The success that I experience in life brings me money and happiness for me and my loved ones. I deserve to flourish and have a lot of money. Money is my friend, and the value of my investments in it is growing every day. Success and money accompany me here and now. I ask my parents, grandparents, and ancestors to the very origins of the clan who had difficulties due to the lack of money to bless me and give me permission to live differently. And I ask my parents, grandparents, and ancestors to inspire me to the very origins of the family who lived in abundance and prosperity. So you're going to write this statement by hand 10 times. It's going to take you a while. It's going to take you a while. So this is going to be the biggest homework that you have for today. But write it by hand. Like you see, I have a money abundance journal. This is my abundance journal. This is the gates that opened up abundance, at least since COVID-19. This is my new abundance. But write it by hand 10 times. And something happens. I mean, I can go into the science, right? What happens when you write it by hand and you repeat the same thing and you breathe deeply and you say it internally? There are lots of different shifts that happen on many different levels. We're not going to go into that. Just trust me that this stuff works. Write it down 10 times, feel it, feel what you're writing down. And then I'm going to do the up level. This is my personal take on it. It's the up level. I record a voice memo on my phone. With this, I read it to myself, and then I meditate on it. I put it into my ears, and I listen to myself saying the statement. So it's working for you on a different level. Are you with me? So you can actually do it with a vision too. So that vision from day one, which you created, right? What is it that you want to? What is it that you want to experience in your life in the area of health, relationship, and money? You write it down. And Brandy and Andre, you're in my teacher training right now. Monique, we did that in your teacher training ages ago. Recreate that vision of your future, and you write it down in present tense and an affirmative. You read it to yourself on your voice memos with excitement, passion, and enthusiasm, and you meditate to that every day. You listen to it and you see it. Because writing is one thing, hearing is another thing. As you hear it, you see it, and you give more energy to that possibility, turning that possibility into probability. This is physics, people. This is science. This is not like spiritual woo-woo, new agey BS. This is just giving it more energy in forms of hearing, seeing it, imagining, anticipating it, so that you can turn that possibility into a probability. Okay, let us take a deep breath in. I have a little bit of time. Do you want to do a quick tapping meditation with me? Tapping? Okay, tapping, if you don't know what tapping is, it's also called the EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Tapping is like, it stands in the intersection of modern day psychology and acupressure. It's tapping on certain acupressure points. And remember how in one of these previous calls, I said the job is not to suppress your emotions. I think it's Elaine who was talking about it. It's letting the emotions flow through you, right? It's feeling the emotions and moving them, and then creating a new vision or stepping into a new possibility. So the EFT or tapping, you start by tapping right here. You can tap with one hand or both hands, it doesn't matter. At the eyebrow here, then at the sides of your eye, then you tap under your nose, and it's not like hard, it's just gentle tapping. You tap under your mouth, you tap under your collarbones here, you tap under your arm, doesn't matter right or left, and then lastly you tap at the crown of your head right here. These are all the tapping points, okay? So I'm gonna be talking you through the EFT tapping meditation really quickly. Let's do, what's the right one to do today? Let's talk about financial abundance. Well, I mean, since we're talking about money, we're going to do one on money. Okay, so right now sit up tall, uncross your legs, and take a deep breath in. And a big exhale. Let's do that again. Big breath in, enjoy your breath. And big exhale. And just for a holy true digit, 3 times, big breath in. Big exhale. So right now, as you think about money, I want you to focus on if you feel any sort of stress, contraction, stress about money, like there is not enough money, the lack of money, money running out, like anything that has to do about your worry about the future in terms of money, that energy. So feel it, tap into it. And listening to your intuition, inner guidance, inner wisdom, your gut feeling, rate that level of stress from 0 to 10. 0 meaning no stress at all, 10, a lot of stress about money. So listen for the number, the first number that pops into your head. Either write it down if you have something, or just remember that number. Okay, so we're going to address some of these stresses, anxiety around money, not to anchor it down, but rather to acknowledge it and to let it move through us. Okay, so I forgot the most important point is the karate chop point here. Open your eyes, guys, for a moment. You start here. There is also holy shit moment. Whoa, sorry. Holy crap point, which is like right here between the bone of your pinky and your ring finger right here, right? So this one is like especially stressful. We're going to start with the especially stressful one because my intuition says some of you guys here on this call are freaking out around money. I'm too. So let's start with this one. So hit here and you can close your eyes and breathe deeply. And repeat internally after me. Even though I'm so stressed out about money, I acknowledge all of my feelings. Even though I'm really worried about future and about my financial situation, I acknowledge all of my feelings and I love and accept myself. Keep tapping here. Even though I feel this energy of lack, like there is not enough, the money will run out. I acknowledge all of my feelings and I fully and completely love and accept myself. Take a deep breath in. Going to the eyebrows right here. All this stress. Keep tapping. Tap at the sides of your eyes. All this anxiety around money. Tap under your eyes. I feel so overwhelmed. I just feel stress. I feel this tightness, contraction in my body. Tap under your nose. Just thinking about money, about future is causing me so much stress. Tap under your mouth. Take a deep breath in. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen in the world. Tap at the collarbones. I'm worried about my job security. Take a deep breath in. Tap under your arm. I'm worried about economy. If the whole economy, world economy tanks, what's going to happen? Tap at the crown of your head. All this stress and worry about money is just causing so much tension in my body. Tap at the eyebrows. Oh, and at the same time as I'm worried about money, as I'm stressed out about money, Tap at the sides of your eyes. I know that this lack mentality, this abundance, but my thoughts create massive abundance block to the flow of money. Tap under your eyes. I understand it in my head. I understand it intellectually. Take a deep breath in. Tap under your nose. And I also know that this lack mentality, in a way, is not trusting the universe. It's not trusting the divine. Tap under your mouth. And a part of me wants to hold on to that worry about money. Take a deep breath in. Tap at the collarbones. But there's also another part of me that knows. I know deep in my soul, a part of me knows. Tap under your arm that I'm always taken care of. Tap at the crown of your head. A part of me knows on a soul level that money doesn't come from people. Money comes through people, through employers, through companies, through organizations. Tap at the eyebrows. And money comes from the universe, from the source, from the divine, from God. Tap at the sides of your eyes. So right now I decide. Right now I decide. Tap under your eyes. To have faith and trust in the divine guidance. Take a deep breath in. Tap under your nose. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter how, because God works in mysterious ways. Tap under your mouth. This chick Albina talks about A Course in Miracles, that miracles are everyday occurrences, a normal part of life. Tap under your collarbone. So I know that when I put my trust, my faith into that source, the universe, the divine, God, tap under your arm. Somehow, in perfect timing and in a perfect way, tap at the crown of your head. I will always gonna be taken care of financially. Tap at the eyebrows. All I need to do is take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in right now. Tap at the sides of your eyes. All I need to do is just relax. Take a deep breath in right now and relax. Tap under your eyes, knowing that all I need to do is trust and surrender. Tap under your nose to the most powerful force in the entire universe. Tap under your mouth. I know that if I work on my inner state, I meditate and I calm down. Tap under your collarbones. I take a deep breath and I relax my body. Tap under your arm. I let go and I forgive. Tap at the crown of your head. I celebrate what I have. I love the one that I am with. Tap at the eyebrows. I give my attention, my time, my love, genuinely from my heart. Tap at the sides of your eyes. I know that when I make a conscious choice and choose joy, light, over fear and anxiety and lack. Tap under your eyes. Every time I make that new choice, every time, tap under your nose, every time I take one step towards God, tap under your nose, under your mouth, God takes 100 steps towards me. Every time I take one step towards God, God takes 100 steps towards me. Tap under your collarbones, take a deep breath, breathe that in. Tap under your arm. I'm always taken care of. Tap at the crown of your head. God works in mysterious ways. I surrender. I trust. I have faith. And I do work on me. And then relax your arm down. Take a deep breath in. And big exhale. Take another big breath in. Feel your breath. Feel your body relax. And big exhale. And bringing your attention back to that sensation, that stress and overwhelm rated now on a scale from 0 to 10. You know, the first number that pops into your head, that's a number. That's trusting your intuition. If your number went down, give me a jazz hands. Okay, good, good, good. So remember, like, any movement down is a good thing. And sometimes you got to do it several times. Like today I woke up especially stressed out for some reason. I haven't been able to sleep for days now. So since 4 o'clock in the morning, guess what I was doing? Tap, 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 tap. Then pray, pray, pray. Went outside and meditated. So sometimes it takes a while. Some days are just weird days. And, you know, you just need to do the tapping a couple of times. Okay. So I would love to hear your experience with today's call really quickly, with tapping, maybe some epiphanies that came to you. I'd love to hear like 3 shares.
Hi. If it's okay, I'd like to share really quickly just because I do have to go.
Yes.
But I did tapping once in my life of maybe a few years ago with my current therapist that I still have. We've just never revisited tapping. It's something I've been really wanting to get back into. I saw Julia doing it the other day, so I'm really happy that we did that today. I will say that when we started, I hold a lot of tension here. And I started with so much tension here, and it's still there. But at first, when we started, I felt like, I don't know. I don't know if this tension's gonna go away. Like it's a lot of tension there. Like I don't think this is going to help me as much as that I need. But I will say that by the end, it's so much lighter. It's still there. I understand having to repeat it. But it was a significant change. So it definitely helps, and I really appreciate it. I want to incorporate that into my life. I know I struggle with like if somebody's not guiding me with like what to say as I'm tapping.
Yeah.
So that was really wonderful. Thank you so much, Albina, for everything that you do.
It's my pleasure. You know what, Kira? I'm going to send out today a tapping meditation. I have a bunch of recording of tapping, so I'm just making notes for myself. So in today's email, I'll add that thing that we'll need to write 10 times, and I'll add a tapping meditation to that.
Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, I'm so sorry I have to jump, but I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
So for me, that was the very first time to experience that. I've heard about tapping from other yoga teachers that went to, training for that and how it can bring up a lot of emotions. So that was really a very nice experience to go through from top to bottom. So that was really nice. So I look forward to seeing an email to continue that for myself.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
I wanted to share how I've seen the money ritual work, and I'm going to kind of become more consistent in doing it. So just an example. So 2 months, probably a couple months ago in February, all of a sudden I was doing another abundance meditate, like a Oprah and Deepak 21-day abundance. Yeah. And I was having a month where all of a sudden I started having all these expenses pile up. I went to the dentist just to get a teeth cleaning and came out probably with a $750 bill. And then they were like, okay, you're going to have to go and get I had some dental work, and so by a week, I was at about, no joke, about $2,500 in dental expenses. My refrigerator went out. So you know how this snowball happens. And I was just like, what is this about? Like I'm in the middle of this abundance. And so I was like, am I reversing it? Am I saying, am I asking for more abundance? And it's like, okay, well, here, here's more expensive. And I was talking to another friend of mine who kind of shares some of the same mindset. She says, no, she said, you just need to keep asking that it comes back to you, that it comes to you. And so I started, because I had a couple of days where I was like, just sharing, like, kind of not gossiping about it, but I just kept talking about it.
Yeah.
And, like, you need to say the other thing. You need to reverse it. And lo and behold, I thought I was going to have to go pull out of my emergency account, or just my, my rainy day account to pay for it. And it ended up, I hate it, but we moved into this season of life, and I saved all this money, and I moved that money elsewhere, and now but I also see other monies coming in. And so it's just an example to me that we have to watch what we say.
That's right.
And then ask for it back.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for sharing, Brandy. And you're correct. Our thoughts and our mouth, I always say we're always prophesying our future.
Yeah.
So whenever you say something negative, you're prophesying that into your future. So I always say, bless your future. Say things that you want to experience in your life. And it's so interesting when you were sharing your story. I mean, I already shared with you how all this PPP money came through from, the COVID-19 government aid. But I also remembered, like, last year, Raj and I haven't worked in a while since we were traveling, and it was like starting to stress me out last year. And I've recorded another big piece of content that I have a course. It's called Manifest Money course. That I was doing, and I kind of created. It has a lot of stuff that we're talking about today, and I was really into it. I love sharing this stuff with other people, and then all of a sudden, unexpectedly, this huge check from the IRS came. I never, like, out of nowhere. And like, apparently when we sold our business, we overpaid our taxes, and then the IRS returned the check, and it was like totally unexpected. So I know, Brandy, that somehow, money will come to you unexpectedly, and it's going to come in perfect timing. It's going to come in perfect timing. Just trust that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Last thing, as you were reading, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Florence Scovel Shinn. She wrote a book called The Game of Life, and she uses a lot of this manifestation. She's like this. She's 1930s metaphysical, and so some of the examples that I feel that I heard Albina talking through were things that she talks about in her book. The Game of Life and how to play it. Your word. She also has a book, Your Word is Your Wand, and you can get like a 3-pack. Exactly what Albina was saying. And so I read it a couple years ago, and it was quite powerful.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Yeah, the words, use your words like wands. I like that. One of my teachers, Jean Houston, always talks like that. Yeah, you have a lot of power with your words, so always speak blessing. Yes, thank you, Brandy. Let's do one more share. We have time for one more share. Does anybody want to share anything that came up?
So I could share another example of
Yes.
how this all comes kind of full circle. So when COVID-19 started, I knew that my job was pretty secure, but my husband, some of you know my husband, Josh, he's an airline pilot, and they've been hit pretty hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we have properties with renters, and our renters like, I lost my job. I can't spend any money. I can't pay the rent. And then we didn't qualify for any of the government assistance. And, and then all of a sudden, all of the airline schedules just went boom down to nothing. And my sister, which Albina knows this, my sister's baby is really, really sick, and she might need a heart transplant. And my sister can't work, and her husband lost his job. And we started a GoFundMe, and I was at the grocery store one day, which Albina donated to. I was at the grocery store one day, and I'm like, well, we need to donate something to my sister, but we're experiencing this hardship with ourselves. We don't know what's going to happen with the airlines. We don't know what's going to happen with this and that. So Josh donated a pretty substantial, for me, a lot of money, $1,000 to my sister. And he's like, I know you. you would go into that scarcity of him and give her what you think we only can give her.
Yeah.
And and right after that, Josh got awarded all of these extra open time trips that he would never have gotten. And these are like high paying flying trips that it's
Yeah.
a seniority thing. And he's like low man on the totem pole. And for some reason he got these trips. And our, just a couple of weeks ago, our renter paid the multiple months that he owed us in full. And it just like, it just started to kind of circle back.
Yeah.
So it does. You're absolutely like right, Brandy. It does. It will
Yeah.
come back, but you have to put it out there. It's like,
Right.
and don't expect anything. Just do it. Just put it out there from your heart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And thank you so much, Janine, for that reminder. That's really inspirational, because I also tend to, like I tend to only give what I think is like I can afford at the moment. And we're all going, I mean, a lot of us are going through challenging times financially right now. But thank you so much for your reminder. You are absolutely correct. There are so many stories where like you give the last dollar you have, and then the universe brings you so much more in return. Yeah, I tend to give more of my like attention and my knowledge and my like coaching or supporter, like things like this I'm doing right now. And I forget, like, giving money is also a big part. We need to do all of the giving, including the money too.
What I
Yeah,
hear you
thank
saying,
you for that
Algina, is
reminder,
time,
Denise.
talent.
Yeah,
Oh,
time
sorry.
and talent.
Time, talent, and treasure is what I hear you
Right.
saying there.
That's right. So I appreciate the reminder, Janine. I really do. Cool. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, you guys. I know it's Saturday night. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm going to send out the homework. I encourage you to do it. If you want the results, have the discipline. And then I'll see you tomorrow night. Same time,
Thank you,
same place.
Albina.